we're back on the air. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the show that, my God, is so good, I don't even know what to say anymore. This is the Sports where the only thing that matters is right here. I am Mike Galetta, a.k.a. Hamilton Mike, along with my partner, Brian, the Ranger Retard. Brian, how in God's name are you today?
Let that hate flow through you. Let that anger, you know?
I'll tell you, if I was in Star Wars, I'd be a hell of a Jedi, wouldn't I? It's just unbelievable.
That or a Wookiee.
Well, easy. I'm not that hairy. Anyway, thank you for watching today in our continuing coverage to go through 32 NFL teams, preview shows like we did in the past. We are heading off to Motown and talk about those Detroit Lions. And who better to talk about the Detroit Lions is our buddy and affiliate in the Detroit area. That's Easy Edd Thompson. Easy! What's going on, Ed?
Hello.
There he is. There he is.
Stay dry over here. Storm will go real good.
Yeah, we got a little storm going on here too, so we're in good company. So, and Brian, let's get to it. As what I always say, stop me. Let's talk about the Detroit Lions.
Detroit Lions finished 9-7 last year, good enough for second place in the NFC North. They are a wild card team. Yep. They did lose to the Seahawks in the wild card round of the playoffs. Offensively pretty good. 11th ranked passing offense, but just 30th ranked on the ground. Average out to 21st. Stafford. 4,300 yards, 24 touchdowns, 10 picks. Theo Riddick led the team in rushing with 357 yards and 1 touchdown. The interesting note about that, Mike, was that Stafford had more rushing touchdowns than Riddick did.
Wow.
And Riddick had more receiving yards than he did rushing. So that kind of tells you where that Detroit running game was last year, and I think it kind of held them back. Their first year without Megatron out there at the receiving core, Tate, 91 catches, 1,000-yard season, 4 touchdowns. Anquan Boldin led the team with 9 touchdowns. He went off to Buffalo in free agency. Defensively, pretty average. I mean, pretty, compared to each other. 19th against the pass, 18th against the run, 18th overall. And they went to address that defense in the draft, taking Gerard Davis, linebacker out of Florida, 21st overall pick. So, and we'll talk about that rushing offense first. I mean, as we talked a little bit about this before the show. Their running game last year was abysmal, and part of that can be traced to Amir Abdullah, their jack-of-all-trades, shifty kind of running back. Only played in 2 games last year, but I guess he's healthy coming into the season. But what can we expect out of this running offense that was so bad last year?
Well, like General Manager Bob Quinn said, games are won in the trenches. And he made moves in the offseason that kind of got all of us fans excited. When he picked up T.J. Lang from the Packers, that was a big move, and he replaced Larry Warford at right guard. That's an upgrade. I don't know anyone who could argue that. I mean, Pro Bowler, and also Detroit area native. And then he got Rick Wagner. That was an excellent pickup on that. So right tackle, that was also an upgrade from Larry Reed. And getting Amir back, because Amir started the season very well. Detroit does his running back by committee, so you might not see 100-yard rushes, but all-purpose yards he did very well in those first 2 games before he hurt himself. And I think if he comes back playing like he did last year, averaging over 5 yards a carry, and he also improved his run game, and that's with the previous offensive line. I feel a bit more optimistic this year when it comes to the running game.
Yeah, you talk about that running game for Detroit that was abysmal last year. You had Amir Abdullah who got nicked up last year. Theo Riddick, I think the same. You did lose one of the major contributors for the Detroit team, and Calvin Johnson went out to pasture for different things. But I think the wide receivers, for the most part, and the tight end, Eric Ebron, I think battled some injuries too. Do you see the same thing, Ed, that we saw last year from this wide receiver core? Because you have Tate and Marvin Jones who do a nice job for Stafford, plus Eric Ebron's got to step up and I think have a bigger year. But I mean, do you think they have enough throwing-wise to do what they did last year?
Actually, well, the one thing that's hurting as of right now is not having Antoine, because he was clutch when it came to making that play right when you need it. He was there, but they have a rookie named Kenny Galladay.
Kenny Galladay.
He's getting a lot of praise.
Yep.
That's just training camp right
The
now.
rookie out of Northern Illinois, yeah.
But I am confident that Marvin Jones will be better because he started off I think the first 4 games he led the league in receiving yards. And he was really on top of the game, but then, that brings a lot of attention to you. So they started getting him at the line real good, but he's been training hard all season with Randy Moss. So what I understand, he learned a lot from Randy Moss this off season.
Yeah.
And Golden Tate still Golden Tate.
And they did have the departure of Anquan Bolden, which he was a good possession receiver. But the reason I asked that, Ed, is because I think T.J. Jones would look good in the slot for this team. Besides trying to rely on Golden Tate and Marvin Jones all the time, and then, like I said, Eric Ebron's going to have to step up for me and do some damage here because he didn't have a good season last year. I think he needs to step up and play a little stronger this year.
Yeah, he had his drops. That's been a problem from day one. I mean, but he also improves his stats every year. Although he missed, I think it was 3 games, he still managed to have 71 receptions.
Yep.
A lot of his stats were top 10. It's just that the drops were one of them, and that's a problem. But the Lions did something very good. They picked up Darren Sales, and he's known as one of the best blocking tight ends, but he's also creating a big buzz in training camp by making some magnificent catches. So they're going to be in more 2 tight end sets. We're going to see a little something different this year with the absence of Bolden.
Yep.
So it'll be interesting. I can only anticipate, it'll be a bit different. You can tell I miss Antoine. Still just want to see it, but I miss him. But we'll see how it works out with the 2 tight end sets. The young rookie Galladay.
And the Lions were very streaky last year, and I think Marvin Jones epitomized that. He had 136 yards a game on average the first 3 games of the season, and then as you mentioned, he tailed off only on average 40 yards a game the rest of the way. And if you look at how that schedule broke down for the Lions, they had 3 and 4 game losing streaks and 3 and 5 game winning streaks. So they really were just streaky as a whole. And towards the end of the year, the wheels really fell off. They lost 3 straight games at the end of the year. They held on. They made the playoffs. Weren't all that competitive in the game against Seattle, unfortunately. Anything you can attribute that to, or anything that you think that they can change about that going into this season?
I don't believe in coincidences. Mm-hmm. The players, they never want to blame anything on injuries, but Matt Stafford was in the talks of MVP.
Yep.
Until he had hurt that finger.
Yep, he was off to a good start.
Then the schedule, I don't know how they had the Cowboys, or they had the Giants, they had Green Bay, then Seattle in the playoffs. So you combine those 2 things, and then Theo Riddick missed all those games.
Yeah.
That's when he hurt. I think it was the last 3 games in the regular season he missed. And they were down to their 3rd, even 4th running back at that time. So they were pretty banged up. And I know that, every team go through their injuries, but that finger injury with Matthew Stafford, I think that was definitely a hit. And let's just hope that doesn't happen again.
And you talk about the Detroit defense. The Detroit defense has kind of been a sticking point for me for the last couple of years. This team really needs to get on track with a solid defense instead of up and down. Their secondary really got battered up last year. Does that actually work? Battered up?
Battered up.
So anyway, got beat up last year, but they revamped the whole secondary, bringing over Tavon Wilson from New England. You got Glover Quinn from Houston, and then DJ Hayden from Oakland. The thing with Tavon Wilson is they drafted him in the New England set to become a sub guy. Now here's a guy who's got to step into a safety role and be the man. Same thing with DJ Hayden, was never in that role until now. So what do you think of their revamped secondary? Do you think that they still have some work ahead of them to rebuild this secondary that's been beat up for a couple years, or they're on the right track?
I think they're on the right track because, well, for one thing, when it comes to last year and how the success quarterbacks had against even the low-tier quarterbacks had against the Lions, they were killing them on the shorter passes. They weren't doing so much on the deep passes because that's how the defensive coordinator Terry Austin had it. They didn't want to give up the big plays, but they kept losing out on the tiny ends were killing the Lions, and that's part of that is the linebackers.
Yep.
But since you asked about defensive backs, not only did they make those, they got a lot of young talent who are competing for those cornerbacks and safety. They loaded up on those positions.
Yep.
And I think competition that makes everyone better. Like you mentioned, the slot DJ Hayden, he had a great season last year playing in the slot, and that's going to help them out because that they also stop a lot of those short passes and picking up Tabor second round. I think that was an interesting pick. He might turn around and do well.
And you bring up a good point.
In the NFL might not be this season, because it's such a hard position, but I still believe he will eventually do well.
Yeah, the point I brought up, Ed, and you brought up a good point with T.J. Hayden. He did have a good year in Oakland last year. My concern is kind of like the Maxwell thing that the Philadelphia people know here, that when you bring a guy out of a good defense like that and he gets big money to come over here and be the man in this secondary that's kind of recovering, is he still going to be the man, or is he going to struggle a little bit being that one that everyone turns to? That's what I talked about with T.J. Hayden.
Well, I don't think he'll be the man. I think he'll keep everyone playing that position on their toes.
Yep.
Being a veteran, because there's a lot of young talent. So have that leadership role, being a veteran and breathing down Quandre Diggs' neck. Because Quandre Diggs, this is his third year. Mm-hmm. He had a nice last year. He fell off.
Yep.
Not sure what happened, but with someone like DJ Hayden there, he's going to have to. He already plays with a chip on the shoulder, but
yep.
That chip's going to be a little spiky. It's going to hurt him a little bit with DJ, on his tail. So, or the other way around. If DJ starts, Quandre going to be on his tail.
Yep.
So, I believe they did a good job as far as the secondary, but time will tell.
For sure. And we start taking a look at the schedule. A couple of things stand out to me. Obviously, your Sports Box viewers, you can see it on your screen there. Two things that stand out to me. First and foremost, if you look at their schedule, other than back-to-back road games in the early part of December, they're going road to home all year long. So they're going to be doing a lot of traveling. There's no extended time where they just have a bunch of games in Detroit in a row. Yeah. They're just going back and forth. They're probably going to be one of the higher traveling teams. But secondly, those first 8 games that they play, you want to talk about a murderer's row of games. Yep. I mean, I'm just going to... I feel I have to actually just go down this list because it's really... They host Arizona, they go to the Giants, they host Atlanta,
the Super Bowl
they go to Minnesota, they host Carolina, go to the Superdome to play the Saints. They get a bye week, thank God.
And they come back for 2 more games.
They come back for 2 night games, hosting Pittsburgh and going to Green Bay.
And to top it all off, that December 10th game against the Bucs, that's going to be an ass kicking. So
you need to stop with that. And I got to tell you,
I know you're a Bucs man.
Now, me? Come on.
Ed, that's a rough first 8 games of the season. I haven't seen anybody else have that rough of a start.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, that doesn't really bode well, in my opinion. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Even though I look at they can be a better team than they were last year, their schedule is a killer.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. I mean, if they come out of this first 6-3-3.
What's strange, though, what makes, like when I try to predict what their record will be, it's hard not just because of the Lions, but because is Carolina going to step, are we going to see the Carolina that made the Super Bowl? I know they got McCaffrey. Are they going to be great again?
Yeah.
Is Arizona, are they going to be great again? If you look at last year, a few of those teams, they look beatable.
Yep.
So I don't know if you know, time will tell. If they play at their best, these, you know, all their opponents,
Right.
it could be a long season for the Lions.
Yeah.
Well, I think though, Ed, you got to look at those first 6 games. If they can come out of there 3-3, that's a hell of an accomplishment.
That's a win.
That's definitely a win. Going 3-3 into the bye week. I mean, I'm looking more maybe 2-4. I don't think they'll go 1-5, but I think 2-4 is more realistic for Detroit. But like I said, they go 3-3 up to the bye week. That's a real huge positive, I think, for the Lions heading forward.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be great for them.
Yep.
And that's pretty realistic, considering they have so much youth. They're depending on
Yep.
young players on that defense.
Yep.
I mean,
I'm not as concerned about offense, even though I know the running game didn't do so well last year. I'm still not that concerned because they have matchup problems on that offense.
Yeah.
They'll get a team real good.
Yeah.
And then, you know, like you got that passing game is very tricky. But yes, I agree. If they could do that much, 3-3, you know, that would be great. I believe that a lot of the schedule is what it is because the president, Detroit's president, operations, Ron Wood, he really pressed for the first game to be in Detroit because for a consistent number of years, it started off real bad. They started off on the road, and so I think the NFL, I think they got them pretty good.
Yeah.
With the home away.
You got that right.
Yeah.
Good.
So it is going to be interesting. But me, I'm the type of fan. This is my thing. I would rather them have a tough schedule and push themselves hard and be challenged to the max than have an easy schedule just to go to the playoffs and get murdered. Mm-hmm. Like I'd rather see them tested.
see what they're made of.
You know, I think, I really wouldn't want to see them. I mean, hey, bad season. Well, they've had some good competition.
I don't really care if the Bucks walk.
Yeah, I want to see the truth on the jump.
That's a win, Brett.
That's a win.
So, Ed, I mean, again, I guess my biggest concern from the standpoint of a Lions fan, before I put you in the spot, how you predict the record, is they really were streaky last year. And because of that, I guess my biggest concern is if that trend continues, the way the schedule breaks, I mean, if the wheels fall off early, I just think that if they continue to be streaky,
it's going to go off.
they might end up in a hole that they can't dig themselves out of just the way the schedule lays itself out. I mean, it does get easier in the second half, but that's murderous.
But three out of the last 4 teams at the end of the season are going to be fighting for playoff spots. So, and Green Bay might be battling for the division with them. So that's a hell of
They
a.
might have it wrapped up by then too.
Well, they could have it wrapped up too. But you're talking about Tampa Bay on the road. You're talking about Chicago, who they'll probably more than likely beat. Go to Cincinnati in the cold, and then you're talking about Green Bay. Green Bay, like you said, might have it wrapped up already. But Detroit might need that game to get in.
And I'll tell you about streaky. You look at November. They desperately need to win 3 straight games in November. They have to beat the Browns for sure.
Cleveland, Bears,
the
Minnesota,
Bears are bad. They get Minnesota at home on Thanksgiving Day. That has to be a 3-game winning streak.
That's 2 division games too.
But if it's not, they're not going to make the playoffs.
Exactly.
So Ed, I'll put you on the spot. How do you think your boys do this year?
Oh wait, this is much harder than that.
It is.
I got it on the nose.
It is.
I got it on the nose, man. I didn't get certain games right, but I was.
That's okay.
This, like I said, it's hard because I don't know about the other teams, and then there's a lot of young. I don't know what Jared Davis will bring to that defense. I don't know what's going on with left tackle because we lost Taylor for a number of weeks, who's a stud, you know, future Pro Bowler in my opinion. I think they do believe in their quarterback seed. I'm going to give you the number.
I was going to say, yeah, keep dancing now.
I want to throw this in there. A lot of their victories they broke a record on the number of comebacks in a year, especially in a row.
Yep.
They had like 9, 10 come from behind victories.
Yep.
So they, even when the odds are stacked against them, they still, the quarterback, he matured. So as long as he gets blocked for, they can beat a lot of think they're going to be up and down. I think they're going to be. I'm watching 9-7 again.
And it's a 20-minute show, Ed.
I'm thinking maybe 8-8. I'm leaning towards 9-7 again, but I'm thinking because they're basically a younger team. I see plus the pass rush. They didn't the defensive end opposite Vicky.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to expect. That's another thing last year. He was hurt all year, Ziggy.
Uh-huh.
He went from 14.5 sacks to pretty much 3, 2.
Right.
Yeah.
He was hurt all last year, so that's a big thing. So that's really hard. So
Yeah,
I'm just on the guess.
No, I think they might need 10. I think they might need 10 to get into the playoffs the way the
Yeah.
NFC is playing itself out. So
Considering
I
the
don't
NFC
know.
South is going to be probably pretty tough this year, I think, with all those teams.
But they were better than a 9-7 team last year. I mean,
Yeah.
again, if you don't see the injury to Stafford, they probably do win 11 games.
They had a bunch of
you know,
injuries that really hurt them.
It's unfortunate for them. But
And you lose probably one of the best wide receivers in the game, so that doesn't.
it didn't hurt them.
No.
To their credit.
Yeah.
To their credit.
Well, that's all the time we have for our Detroit Lions segment. I want to thank our man in Motown, Edd Thompson, for jumping online, giving us a little Lions knowledge. Ed, we appreciate it as always, my friend.
All right, hey, I had a lot of fun with you guys. Appreciate you having me.
Attaboy. Who doesn't have fun here? We're
Only
just
winners.
a bunch of fun guys,
Only
for crying out loud. And if anything happens in Detroit camp or during the season, we will get Edd Thompson back on the line to give us a little bit of camp of what's going on and things with the Detroit Lions. Is that good, Ed?
That's good.
Attaboy. See, I'll tell you, it just doesn't get any better than this. It's like cream cheese on a Sunday morning. Anyway, thank you for watching us. You can always get us on social media if you need to.
Absolutely. And if you don't know by now, I mean, I don't know what to tell you at this
Yeah.
point. But listen, we're on Twitter and Facebook at Sportsbox Show. Make sure you're following us there. But if you're doing nothing else, subscribe to our YouTube channel because we're going to be previewing every team. And if you miss the preview of your team, you're going to have a bad time.
Shame on you. Shame on you. You know Ed subscribes, so why don't you? So get on the damn YouTube and hit the subscribe button for crying out loud. We're sick of telling you. Here at the Sports Box, the only opinion that matters. Brian?
It's right here.
Oh my God, it's right here for crying out loud. I'll take care. See you.
This episode of the Sports Box is brought to you by Mic'd Up Entertainment and DJ Mike Velarde. For all of your event planning needs, make sure you contact Mike at 609-864-5925 and tell him that you saw him on the Sports Box.
1, 2, 3.
Don't forget to subscribe.